First woman Prime Minister, first woman Attorney General, first woman to lead a parliamentary political party, first woman opposition leader. Welcome KPB Plus, solid everywhere.
Thank you all very much. Thank you. Good night. I can't hear you. Good night. Siparia, are you in the house? Old East, are you in the house? Old West, are you in the house? Faizabad, are you in the house? And all of Trinidad and Tobago, are you listening? Are you viewing? We stand proud and strong with you. All the other MPs, senators in the crowd tonight, our councillors, our aldermen, and of course the UNC family joining across the World Wide Web, listening in and viewing. We say good night again. And welcome to the constituency of Siparia, the great constituency of Siparia. I want to thank all my constituents who have honored me over the years by really showing us up and giving us great support for so many years of my life. Can we say thank you, Siparia? It's good to be home. I've been roving all over the country, but I always come back home here in Siparia. We are stone's throw away from the Penal market. And as a child, I used to go there with my RG and my Aja to sell in the Penal market. That is where I came from. Out of Siparia, out of Penal, out of David. This is the area that I grew up in and learned all the things that I know. Now, if you could stand here tonight, you will see what I see. It is a sea of yellow. A sea of yellow. And we know the code is yellow is the code. We are UNC and we are proud. We are UNC and proud. I acknowledge, of course, Mr. Jackman and his team who is smiling away. He's so happy to be in this yellow crowd. Give him some welcome. Because on his chest he wears a crest, which is also yellow, a golden crest of the OWTU. We thank him for coming and joining us. And all the others who are here, all the protocols observed, we love you all. I really want to get into the serious issues, because we have some very serious issues. My colleagues, all powerful speakers came before me, but let us welcome on board our two new-to-be councillors, Nicole in Lengua Indian Walk, and Sarah in Penal. Queenam here, Queenam Mondablo, are two winning candidates. So let me spend a minute on where we came from. We have come in this entire country from a generation whose parents had very little to do. They had nothing, but what did they do? They sacrificed everything so we could have something. They worked tirelessly to give us an education. They worked tirelessly to give us a future. They worked tirelessly to help us raise a family, a chance. And they worked tirelessly to help us to own a home. And I say we must pledge as this great party, the UNC, and make sure that the sacrifices our foreparents made must never, ever be in vain. Never, ever be in vain. We have to ensure we carry on what they toil for. Their perseverance and dedication were not just about their personal success. We have to remember that. They also went about building a better future for all of us. I see someone is trying to show you something. Turn around and show them. So the stars are in alignment, the placard says. The stars are all lined up, and all of us are yellow like the stars. Look at the stars. See how they shine for you and everything you do. And they were all yellow. Yellow is the code. Our parents or forefathers coming together as a community, supporting one another, working towards common goals. The spirit of unity and collective effort has always been our strength. It's the same spirit we must now invoke to accomplish great things. And tonight I want us to remember what we carry on our chest, what we wear in our hearts, what we work for together. And the first word is united. United. That is what we are. United, we can ensure that every child has access to quality education. That's what we did. No child be left behind. The UNC will reintroduce the laptop program. We promise and pledge that we'll bring back the laptop program. That way we can ensure our children are connected to the world. That is what we did 2010 to 2015. Today we are disconnected from the world. But even more important, we are disconnected from our communities. Because you're locked down in your house and you're afraid to come out. Look, one of my staff members, I spoke of Joelle recently, held up in her home. Our activist Joelle D'Souza. And just these few days, Maria, who works in my office, her house was invaded by bandits. Now you'll say, okay, that's one, but it's everywhere this is happening. And I was remembering, before 1995, under the then Manin regime, may God rest his soul, then you all remember the kidnappings that used to be taking place? Crime was at an all-time high, and especially kidnappings. Everybody was forming into watch groups and so on. Many were leaving the country. Some of you may not remember, some people too young. And that's why sometimes we get lost along the way, because we must also remember where we came from, what we came from, what we went through, what we suffered. And in 1995, the UNC slogan was, if you do the crime, you will do the... Remember that? If you do the crime, you will do the time. And that is when we won the 1995 elections. And there we were, the crime went down. Going down, going down. Then what happened? What happened? PNM again. Yes, Anil, PNM again. And the crime started to escalate. Fast forward to 2010, again, what was it? It was crime. We talked about a crime, and the PNM lost the election. So we hardened. They said, stick break in your ears. How many times you will do the same thing? So after 2010, come to 2015, what has happened? Crime rises every day. Rudy told us, not one day without a murder. As I'm standing here, the last numbers I saw was 214 murders. We have not even had 214 days in the year. Days in the year. We had an anti-crime meeting last Monday in Morva Lavanti. We got about 200 persons turn up at that anti-crime talk. 200. I thank you, and I want to thank the residents who came out there braving whatever the situation was, because that very day, the night we were going in, there was a murder in the area, that very day. But they came out, about 200 persons, and they talked about the loss of dearly loved family members. In fact, our alderman, who hosted the meeting for us there, Kareem, his wife and his brother-in-law were murdered just a few months ago in that very district. Family members losing loved ones to the gang members, to the criminals. Crimes, losing ongoing battles against government to simply get jobs, to get jobs. You know, I saw an article recently in the newspaper that out of Trinidad and Tobago, 5,000 persons applied to Disney cruise. Remember they were here? 5,000 persons. And you want to tell me people have jobs and don't talk about jobs? I saw Heinz put out some foolishness. Maybe he woke up from his sleep and decided to put out this post talking about, well, you don't have to go to crime if you don't have a job. And nobody's saying that the criminals doesn't have a job and that's why they go to crime. Where you get that from? But it's always to blame somebody else. That is their modus operandi. Anyway, 5,000 persons applied to Disney Cruises. You remember when they had a police recruitment up the highway? There was block up with people applying for jobs. People want jobs. People want a decent living for themselves and their families. So of these 5,000 persons who applied, only about 80, less than 100 have been hired. Out of 5,000, only about 80. I saw the minister of whether it's tourism or wherever in the papers boasting that they'll get more for people to work with the cruise liners and so on. But jobs. When we were in office, we created over 51,000 jobs. We did so without a single tax, not one new tax. I'll come back to that. For the anti-crime talks, we'll go into some other districts. Now, MP Tanku, yes, brilliant speech, talked about the fiasco and the scandal with the Auditor General. What this government likes to do is it throw out a lot of statistics coming from inside and outside sources to make us believe that the economy is doing well, that they have done something for the economy. But I remember I used to teach a course at the University of the West Indies. And one of the books, I thought you may not know it, I was a lecturer at the Mona campus. Give me a clap for that. And then I became a lecturer at the St. Augustine campus. And then I went and became a lawyer. And then the rest is history. I'm standing in front of you as a politician. So in that course, there was a book that I used. And it's called How to Lie with Statistics. So the truth is, there are lies, there are damn lies, and there are statistics. So tonight I want to share with you, as I dig deeper into the statistics that the government pelts at us every time, we see the realities are very heartbreaking. Working class families are struggling to get by because even if they're employed, they cannot get by, and I'll share with you why. But before I do that, I want to show you data. Not how to lie with statistics. I want to show you raw data. And this comes out of that famous or infamous Auditor General report. Do we have a slide up there? Yes. This is a table from the 2023 Auditor General report. It is on page 94 of that report that they refused to lay in the Parliament. But in Trinidad, what happens in the darkness always comes to light. And so, at page 94 of that report, we are seeing the government borrowed over $12 billion in the last fiscal year. And we see that since 2019, that report, this is not statistics, this is data. 2019, 8.3 billion borrowed. 2020, 16.5 billion. 2021, 13.7 billion. 2022, 7.3 billion. Last year, fiscal 23, 12.4 billion. You know which money is borrowed in the last couple of years? $58 billion by this government. That is what the report tells us. Look at it there, it's in black and white, from page 94 of that report. And I'm asking them, can the government say, are you doing well? If you have to borrow $12.4 billion in 1 year, are you doing well? If you have to borrow $58 billion, are you doing well? So they pelt us with these stats. But really they mean nothing. That is not reality. Look at it, $58 billion. And then what they're doing, they're borrowing this money to pay wages. I told you all before, the country is broke. The country is broke. We have run out of money, we spent it badly, corrupted it, the country is broke. $58 billion borrowed between 2019 and 23. I said they're broke because when they run the budget, they give us nice numbers again. They put up for the gas price, they budgeted, when we sell our gas, we will get $5, but they have been collecting half of that. So when you budget, your project can collect all this money from selling the gas, but then you're getting half of what you projected to collect. And I'm saying be careful what work you do for this government, but they're not going to pay you because they don't have the money to pay you. Rudy and Tim and they will remember when we went into government in 2010, we had all these hundreds of contractors begging because the government had refused to pay contractors for work done under the then P&M government. 5 billion, Tim is reminding me. So be careful that you sign up for the work, and then what happens? They cannot pay you. It will then have to be you put a UNC government in place so you can get paid. Look at the second clip. On page 97 of the auditor's report, the government is saying they have a 7.5 billion deficit for last year. But when we look at the same page 97, government say, okay, the deficit is only 7.5 billion. You hear a lie? That is lying with the numbers. When we add the $7.5 billion to the 12 billion borrowed, you see where the deficit is? 12 plus 7, almost $20 billion in deficit. What does that mean? Where all this money gone? Can you see it? Can you taste it? Can you touch it? They have not built a single new school. They have not fixed your roads, your streets, your drains. They cannot provide water. Where this $20 billion gone? It's recorded as a deficit because they've spent it, but they have nothing to show for it. They are running on credit. They owe everybody. They collected $49 billion from overtaxing you, but they spent $69 billion and nothing to show. Where the money gone? Where has this money gone? Not in your pockets, you know. It hasn't gone there, and I'll come back to that in a minute. And I'll show you where it's going, some of it. Then we come to the public debt. This is the borrowing. From page 89 of the auditor's report, the public debt increased by $27 billion from 2019 to 2023. And then we have, starting January to now, will be more public debt. So instead of creating opportunities and hope, the government's only answer is borrowing money, increasing taxes. Soon they'll increase water rates, and then electricity rates, and then property tax. They have increased the public debt by $27 billion in 4 years, between 2019 2023. Again, that could never be a sign that the economy is doing well. Let's look at the next clip. Page 85. The public debt at the end of fiscal 2023 is $102 billion. As Arnold said, and I see Tadku taking good pattern, billion dollars, $102 billion. Billion dollars. At the end of fiscal 2023, $102 billion. And as I say, since September to now, again, will be more public debt. So the question is, who has to pay back all this debt? $102 billion. It will take my lifetime, my children's lifetime, my grandchildren's lifetime, my great-grandchildren's lifetime, and yours too. Cannot pay off this debt. They cannot pay it. But let me tell you who is benefiting from all of this. Who is to pay it? You. Taxpayers will pay it. But do you know who you have to repay this money to? I'll give you some. I'll share some with you. Wayne Mark is famous about exposing this issue with NCB Global and NCB Merchant Bank. The government has awarded financing contracts to NCB Global and NCB Merchant Bank for about $3.4 billion. So they got these contracts, we had to pay back that $3.4 billion. To whom? NCB Global, NCB Merchant Bank. This is a company run by Stuart Young's brother, Angus Young. The PNM came to power, and this company, I think Wade tells us, was just a small company. I wouldn't call them fly-by-night, but small. Their share in the financing was minuscule. And now, $3.4 billion. When the PNM came into power, this company struck gold. So this is one minister's family. We know the other one, Faris Arawi, with his rentals and so on. And there are others that we expose over time. Look at this again. These numbers, the 3.4 billion, we can find on pages 118 to 133, which shows loans, the financing that we borrowed from this FCB, NCB Global and NCB Merchant Bank. These companies, headed by Stuart Young's brother, they will collect billions in interest, payments from you, taxpaying, in billions in profits. So there's a listing there in the auditor's report, all the various loans that were taken. MTS, 400 million. CAL, 169 million. WASA, 125 million and 192 million. And Unicot, 214 million. NIDCO, 230 million. NIPDEC, 200 million. MTS, 200 million. This takes up to, what I told you before, $3.4 billion we have to pay back. And of course, who will get the profits from that? The profits will go on interest to these companies. Petrotrin, 169, shut down Petrotrin up to today. Can't see the light of day. They shut down Petrotrin. We must never ever forget who blew out that light at Pointe-à-Pitre. Who blew out that light at Pointe-à-Pitre. Never ever forget. With thousands on the breadline. Thousands. Prime Minister goes to India. Well, Rudy talked about cricket. I am not a great cricket player, so I'll leave Rudy with the cricket. Goes to India, which has one of the largest refineries in the world. And you know what? They don't produce one drop of oil. Did you all know that? Largest refinery in the world, one of. Not one drop of oil do they produce. And when they shut down Petron, they say, oh, we don't have enough oil, we have to import oil. And this company there, their refinery in India, imports every single drop of oil. Every drop of oil. And they are now in the top 5 economies in the world. Top 5 economies in the world, India is. So he goes there, but he don't go to see the refinery. Eh? He didn't go there to see the refinery. As Rudy said, he was just reveling all over the place. Then go to see it. Something that you could benefit from. Largest refinery amongst in the world does not import one drop of oil. And you shut the petrol and say we have to import oil. Man don't understand energy or anything else, doesn't understand what could be done and cannot be done. We must never forget it. So while the PNM is giving you and your children grass cutting jobs, garbage collecting jobs, the PNM families are collecting billions. And then I hear some fellas going around the place promising if you vote for them, they'll give you CPEP contracts. Somebody told me that. I don't know, a CPEP contract and URP contract. But the PNM fellas running home with billions, their families. While you get 4%, wages given to public servants 4%, Angus Young's company gets almost 3.4 billion in financing and will get the interest of that. While you pay for your property rent, properties, rents, electricity, water, that family is raking in millions. $20.50 an hour for you. That's the minimum wage, is it not? 3.4 billion in financing contracts for Angus Young. So where are you going to find that extra 700 or 800 every month, 900 to pay higher electricity, water, property tax when things are so bad enough? This means you will have to cut back on your groceries, cut back on your children's schooling, cut back on extra lessons, cut back on insurance company payments, and even your occasional family outing. I remember there was a man in the parliament told us, Don't make macaroni pie on Sunday. Am I correct? PNM MP. Use a coal pot. And don't go to the cinema, I think he said. You can't go so often. Oh yes, and ride the bicycle. Ride a bicycle. I cannot imagine seeing that MP riding a bicycle, quite frankly. I believe the bicycle will just collapse. I can't imagine. He's such a large person, a wonderful human being. But anyhow, they're asking you to give up what you don't have. And I say this is madness. You know that saying, there's a saying, they're too wicked. This PNM government is too wicked. Wicked, wicked. This is madness. This government has been systematically destroying your quality of life. They're increasing the cost of living. They're throwing many persons into poverty and destitution. Here are some examples. Do you remember the fuel subsidy removals? Do you remember that? Minister Imbot said what? He raised the gas price 5 times and nobody ever riot yet. Fellas, in this room's coming, you will write with your fingers in the voting box. You will put your X next to the rising nun, and that will be the biggest right of all as we run them out. Since 2015, they have increased fuel prices 5 times. Motor vehicle taxes. By 2018, they had removed tax concessions on the hybrid vehicles where the engine size was more than 1599 cc. They removed the tax concession. That was 2018. Fast forward to October 2020, what did they do? All the taxes, they reintroduced on the hybrid vehicles and the CNG vehicles. So first they take it down, they take out one set, and then they remove the concessions from all of them, so you had to pay more. It was the UNC, I want you to remember, which made a foreign used car available to citizens, making car ownership a reality for many, not just for the rich who could afford showroom vehicles. In that process, the UNC created an entirely new industry. We have short memories. We must remember these things. A whole new industry that generated jobs and businesses for thousands. That was the used car industry. And then what did they do? They drove up the prices of foreign used cars, raised the prices. They limited the age of the foreign used to come in to 3 years. My UNC government, I tell you, will go back to revert the age limit back to 6 years for foreign used cars for citizens to be imported. So bringing the prices down and allowing the ordinary man to have a vehicle, not just the fellas driving the whatever they drive. I don't even know the name of those things, but I'm not driving that. I just have a little Prado. And I think Greg has, what is the name of that boy? That vehicle, I think, going out to come by us. What was it? What? Hilux, yes. Hilux. So we have to bring the car price down. And we have to go back to the hybrid and CNG vehicles where we gave the concessions so people would buy them and use them. We have to do that. We have to go back to the future. Back to the future. Not back, what do you say? Forward ever, backward never. Totally agree. We have to go back to the future. What did they do again to make your life a living hell? They increased the business levy. They come in 2015 late. By 2016, they implemented a 200% increase on businesses who are already making a loss of small profit. Again, hitting the small man and hitting the small and medium businesses. They increased the Green Fund in 2016. I hope you're listening, while we talk about how many independent institutions they've been butchering, chopping off the necks of all these independent institutions. They have been systematically dismantling your quality of life by all these measures that they have taken. So what? Green Fund increased against small and medium businesses. 2016, The rate of contribution to the Green Fund, what did they do? They increased it. So again, small businesses, middle, in trouble. Online tax in 2016, they introduced a 7% online tax. Again, the small and medium-sized businesses tax again. VAT refunds, they put back the VAT on over 7,000 food items. We must not forget these things. We must not let them forget it either. And then I'm reading something strange in the papers. They say that if you want to import, you now have to have a BIR number. So suppose you're visiting from Barbados and you import a few things here, you're here for a few weeks. Where are you getting this BIR number? So can any foreigner come here and get a BIR number? What about the Venice? They don't pay no tax. Remember the government said no tax. What will happen to the Venice? I'm sure they bring in things, their families send them some nice Venice food, some nice Venice clothing, and the Venice used to have really nice shoes. I don't know about now. But when the economy was doing well, they used to have really nice things there. What happens to them? And what is the rationale of implementing this measure if it's not again to hit the small and medium-sized businesses? So the government can't just put down this story. They must tell us why. Let's go back to VAT refunds. As I said, it's 7,000 food items put on VAT. They increased fees. I don't think anybody has systematically analyzed this to see how they have systematically reduced your quality of life and increased the cost of living. So here we are. Fees for commissioners of affidavits when you had to go to a court matter. Young Chris Hussain just became a lawyer. They've increased the fees. When you had to sign an affidavit, the commissioner fees increase. They have increased the fees for firearm users license. They have increased the cost of the inter-island travel between the two, Trinidad, Tobago, Trinidad. And then, of course, the big whammy, they're going to implement property taxes. I mentioned electricity and water. Don't get too serious now, because you know what? We must put God in front, as one of the candidates reminded us, and walk behind. We must have faith, and we must have strength that we must win. We will go in there and make sure that the UNC forms the government. When the PNM candidate comes to Lengua Indian Walk to campaign, or when that candidate comes to Mandablo, Queen Mandablo, ask them about this property tax thing and run them. Don't vote for them, run them. The PNM has really slaughtered our people. And therefore, our two candidates, two young, brilliant women, give them again a round of applause. And they'll be fighting two senior men. Both of these young, beautiful, brilliant women will be fighting two senior PNM fellows. So we have to do what we have to do. Again, I say all of this I'm sharing with you. Systematic dismantling of the quality of life of yourselves and your families. Now, I want to share something else with you because I want to tell you, I told them so. And you always like to say, I tell you that, you know. I did tell you that, you know. I did tell you that, you know. Don't you all love to do that? Well, do it with me. We told you so. We told you so. We told you so. And here it is. Imbert. I brought the newspaper where Imbert is backing down. And I told him this is exactly where he would end up. On the Newsday, May 16, 2024, Imbert forgoes legal action against the Auditor General, agrees to a special report. Imbert forgoes. You know what forgo mean? He's not doing it. Back. Oh, what Siparia used to say? Don't back. Don't back because you're already in the trouble. And we will not let you off the hook. So what the article tells us, Finance Minister Colin Imbert has decided to forego, what a nice word, legal, what do you mean, as you say, back down. Decided to forego legal proceedings against Auditor General Ramdas with respect to the latter's submission to Parliament of a report on the 2023 public financial accounts, which did not facilitate, he did not, remember I told you when he was in the parliament, and the speaker said, Auditor General's Report 2023, Minister of Finance. Minister of Finance. He refused to lay the report. And now he backing down. The next part of the article says, you know what it says? It says, the original report will be laid in Parliament at the earliest opportunity. First, he's not going to sue the lady again. And second, he's going to lay the same report that on the 26th of April, he was called upon to serve. Boy, if you had shame, you should really hang your head in shame, but hang your head in shame. And here the third part now. I love this part. I always like to think I'm a brilliant lawyer. It is not the first time I've called them out. And they had to go back and what you say, eat their own words. You remember when they had this merit list, when they pulled back the list, we exposed them. Interfering with institutions. Remember when Faris then AG laid the Commissioner of Police order in the Parliament to change how to select a commissioner? I personally prosecuted that matter in the courthouse and they had to withdraw the offending provision. So here we are again. They say if you don't sing your own song and if you don't blow your own trumpet, well, people may not do it because why? They don't know. So let's show them. The original report we laid in Parliament. So one, he not suing. He forgoes back down. Second, the same original report will be laid. Friday we are sitting, will be laid. And here this one. The Finance Ministry will provide Ramdas with all documents she requires to prepare a special report on the 23 public finance accounts. You know, it's exactly what I told him that day in Parliament. Exactly, they brought it like a thief in the night, the motion to extend time for a new report by August and so on. So we had to think really, really fast. And that day in Parliament on the 26th, before Kevin puts up the clip, I will read it for you. I advised the government as follows, and I'm quoting my words, which I'm very proud of, from the Hansard. This entire exercise today, if I may say so, I say this entire exercise today will take you to the courthouse. That is exactly what has happened. Mr. Hussein, I said, I'm giving him a backup. He said, yes. I continue. It will take you to the courthouse. And Mr. Hussein, Saddam, and they will lose. You will lose again. KPP continues. And you will lose again. And you will have to pay costs. So when it is you are extending like this, I say retroactively, where it is a report is already completed, and I had said, look at them big fat book on the table. What you going to do with them? Report done, it finished. You can't go back now to do what? You cannot. But you could do a special report. And that's exactly what he's coming to do now. He has to lay those books. We told him so. And he now has to do what? Make the lady do a second special report. You have now discovered these discrepancies. You can ask the Auditor General on this section I just read to proceed and go forward. Do a special report. Do a special report. And then I concluded my contribution. I am proud today. I am very, very proud. I told them and I warned them. And that dunce Attorney General misadvised them. And then them big senior counsel eater food lawyers that they hired to write the Auditor General pre-action letter, they too gave wrong advice and said bring a motion to extend time. When all they had to do is lay the big fat report that finished and go for further time for a special report the law provides. So, I want you, Kevin, if you can find a clip now, I would love to hear the voice telling them that in the Parliament and watch their faces. I say this entire exercise today will take you to the courthouse.
Yes.
You will take proof to the court.
And you will lose again?
And you will lose again. And you'll have to pay costs. So when it is that you're extending like this, I say retroactively, where it is the report is already completed, you can't come and change the report by extending the time. You cannot. But you could do a special report. You've now discovered these discrepancies. You can ask the Auditor General on this section I just read to proceed and go forward, do a special report. Okay? Now, that's exactly what they're going to do now. They're going to lay the report, and then they'll do a special. But that's after how many millions of dollars have we spent? Because of their incompetence. How many millions did you pay these big lawyers you hired to give you that bad advice? How much millions you spend in the courthouse and costs? Taxpayers' dollars. All of that will come to light. Now, I don't like to disparage people too much. But Reggie Limo is the biggest dunce I've ever seen in the office of the Attorney General. The biggest dunce. Biggest dunce. Will cost the taxpayers millions of dollars. Now, I don't know if you know it, but the president is out of the country. Some may know, some may not know. But Madam President, Her Excellency, is out of the country. What happens when that office holder is out of the country? You send an acting president. Who is the acting president? President of the Senate. Who is the president of the Senate? PNM till he born and PNM till he continue to live. Then what happens? The law provides a formula for the removal of an Auditor General with a process that the president can appoint a tribunal to investigate the Auditor General. Now, this audit that Imbert trying to do, or what is this, a committee, and look, a brilliant lawyer like Anand dealing with that. That, I think the judgment will come out on the 3rd June, whether they will allow that committee to continue. So that's one part of that committee. But then the president has the power to appoint a tribunal to investigate. And who is this acting president? I tell you, it's a PNM from day 1 to 5 and the rest of the days. And you remember what happened with Jawala Rambaran? Do you all remember the then governor of the central bank? When the president was out of the country, the acting president went and fired Jawala Rambaran. So I'm just asking for a friend. Is this the plan, Mr. Prime Minister? Is this your government's plan? Is it true that this is your plan? I am asking, as I say, for the people of our great country. You have been hounding the poor woman out of office after she stood up and maintained her independence against you. So I warn you tonight, as we ask, is this the government's wicked plan to get rid of an independent office holder who has stood her ground? She stood her ground. I speak a little bit now on crime before I close. Cannot not talk about crime. Kevin can put up the video, the split screen, please. As I said, we are in May, 4.5 months into this year, 214 murders in our land. Over the weekend, I read some stories of the unprecedented, sadistic, demonic, brutal crime wave, and my stomach churned and crawled. This is what we wake up every day to read and see. We have babies being murdered in a demonic manner, women being tortured and assaulted in the most horrific manner, and people being gunned down in the streets. We are in a war zone where chaos, destruction, sadistic brutality, sick, violent torture reigns. And in these areas in the Deep Southland, there was a time not so long ago when crime was a rare thing to happen. We were safe, we were peaceful, we were comfortable. I remember we used to leave the door open. No, you can't just close your door, you know. You had to burglar-proof it and bolt it down. Lock yourself down in your house. We were safe. We were peaceful and comfortable. Today, under this destructive, wicked government, just for this year, Look at all the headlines. Siparia laborer shot to death on way to work. Worker shot dead at job site by men dressed as police. 63-year-old man shot dead in Siparia. Penal. Couple gunned down in Penal parlor. Penal bar owner robbed of cash and jewelry by fake cops. Man found murdered in car in Penal. Penal father shields toddler in deadly gun attack. Man murdered in Penal. Woman murdered, husband injured in Penal ambush. Faizabad. Killing of breadwinner in the midst of joblessness must be condemned. Man found stabbed to death in Faizabad. Faizabad man killed, body left on the road. Nurse robbed of car at gunpoint in Faizabad after crash. Man shot dead in Faizabad. Orpuch East and Orpuch West. Doubles vendor shot in front children during home invasion. Taxi driver survives robbery attack. Crawls for hours to safety. 24-year-old shot dead in South Orpuch drive-by. Family assaulted during home invasion in South Orpuch. Stray bullet his boy on his way to church. This is Trinidad and Tobago today, a war zone. I think already mentioned about Prime Minister has admitted, he has admitted that Trinidad and Tobago is what? A playground of the criminals. And I got an article from Loop News, AZP News, with that headline. Excuse me a second. Here it is. ACP News, May 20th, headline, by Priya Bihari, Rowley, Trinidad and Tobago, a criminal playground. I think Munilal has dealt with that issue of the playground. So even the Prime Minister is admitting that we are overrun by criminals. We are living in a war zone. And the question will be then, when will they do anything about the criminality that is taking place? I say this to you tonight. Together, united as a country, united as a people, we must stop them. We must give this government a rest. We must take back our country, and we will stop them. We'll bring stand your ground laws. We'll make legal firearms more accessible to law-abiding citizens. When criminals invade your homes, you'll be able to defend your families. And if anybody's against stand your ground legislation and legal firearms, they don't care a thing about you or your family. Do not care. They just do not care. So we've launched our campaign tonight, and I'm told last week, Chairman Gautam and others of our team were walking in the Queen Anne Diablo electoral district. And the people told them that the PNM team there is telling the voters that they need a party card to vote in the by-election. They need a party card to vote in the by-election. Totally untrue. All you need is your EBC card. So I don't know if this is a way to force them to join the PNM. You don't need a UNC card. You don't need a PNM card. All you need is a UNC voting finger and your ID card to go out and cast your votes on the 17th of June. And there's another thing I'm being told, that people are campaigning against the UNC and UNC members. And they're going about with mic cars, with, broadcasting. Now, I want you to remember that if you defame someone, you can do it by writing the defamatory statements, or you can do it by broadcasting. And a mic car is a broadcasting medium. And I'm told that they're going about attacking UNC members. And I'm asking all of you in your communities, look out for them mic car and write down the car number, and we'll send them lawyer's letter for defaming UNC members. Don't let them get away with it. So they feel if they're on a mic, they're anonymous. But that car is registered to someone with that mic on top of it. So I'm giving you notice, UNC. look out for these wicked people, report it to us, or councillor, your MP, and so on in your district. I finally said the UNC has been leading the way. We are the party with better policies, better ideas and programs. Since our inception, the UNC has led the way in politics and governance. United, we will ensure, as I said, every child has access to quality education. Laptops, tablets, best education practices. You remember we introduced the dollar for dollar. It was under Mr. Pandey's government, the dollar for dollar to help those who didn't have the means to give themselves a university education. That then morphed into the GATE program. And now they have also cut down the GATE program. Cut it down, cut. They closed the gate. Basically, that's what they've done. They've closed the gate on our children. Denying opportunities. We built schools in rural communities right here on the Clark Road. 2 huge schools. The Shiva Balls and the other one there, the girls' school and the boys' schools. Ruth just says about vine growing, vermin infested. Huge schools for children in these rural areas just left to rotten. My final words are these. We have always been resilient. This is not just about politics. It's about our collective future as people living together. United, we can build a nation where everyone prospers. Remember, we say, united we stand, divided we fall. Let us remember our national motto. Together we aspire, together we achieve. Together we aspire, and together we achieve. And I say, united we are unstoppable. United is the difference. United we can build a better TNT. United we can make a difference. So let us harness unity. Let us harness this unity to transform our nation. Shoulder to shoulder, one big UNC family. Nothing will stop us. Nothing is going to stop us now. We will put in the work daily to earn your vote, to earn your support. And the next government, we will lead into victory. We will lead our country to progress. We will lead our country to prosperity. We will restore a sense of national pride and dignity in all of us. We can do this how? United. We are the United National Congress. United we stand, and we shall be victorious. So on the 17th of June, that first election is coming, the by-elections, and thereafter, the big one, the mother of all elections, the general election, will be upon us. Stay strong. Remember, half of me belongs to you. The other half, I give to you. And you will get leaders before me. You will get leaders after me. But you will never, ever, ever get a leader who loves you as much as I do. I thank you, and may the good Lord continue to bless and keep you.
We stand united in the belief that if you empower community, the community empowers the country.
We are the party that gave every child a secondary school education since 2001.
By building more schools in 11 years than others did in 40. We believe that no child,
Rich or poor, should be left behind.
which is why we give every Form 1 student a laptop to expand their minds and their dreams.
We are the party that put police cars back on the streets.
And gave the police a $1,000 bonus because we believe that we should support the persons who are protecting you.
We are the party that reduced the murder rate to its lowest in 14 years. We expanded GATE, stopped the property tax, and increased maternity leave.
We are the party that invested in you and your community by investing in schools, community centers, lighted parks, 24-hour health centers, and the most extensive road repair program in decades.
We believe that education is always a solution and that no one should have to pick between sending their child to school or buying food.
We are the party that works for you. We are the first responders in every situation, working to deliver a better standard of living for you and your family.
And most importantly, We have confidence in you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago. This is not a campaign, it's a movement based on building communities and strengthening families.
Come out and join us, and together we will get the nation working and moving again. Our children will once again have access to gate and technology.
We will improve healthcare
By cutting the time it takes to see a doctor in an emergency. We will establish a senior citizen unit in every major hospital and staff the hospital with the doctors and nurses you need to create a first-class healthcare system. We will focus on creating high-paying jobs, fixing our laws to remove red tape, and ensuring that you and your family are safer. We will reduce corporate taxes to jumpstart the economy, create a special investment zone along the East-West corridor, and work with entrepreneurs to build a digital economy. This is an investment in your community to move the nation forward and get TNT working again.
Whether you are from 4th Street in Barataria to Railway Road in Dow Village, from Green Street in Tunapuna to Clark Road in Debe, from La Hoqueta to Moruga, from Mayaro to Scarborough, we are one people with the same dreams of a better tomorrow. And when we stand together, we win together. We are UNC and proud.
So who feel the black? Who feel the white? I don't know. But it's settled tomorrow night. Who feel the wrong? Who feel the right? Come and go. And all who feel the too bright, let me jump up, let me wind up, party non-stop. Ramaje Dingule Kelkete, we come to play mass. Every creed and class, don't let nothing pass. Like a ready TV, all the love inside away. Uptown and ghetto, feeling the tempo. Soca and Kaiso, it's party day like so. Soon as we land, fun is the plan. We like the jam, like we man.